everyone, my name is Leah and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm trying gouache paints for a second time. I have a video of my first attempt, which you can find in the description below, and I didn't really like how it came out. I mean, I didn't hate it, it wasn't the worst thing I've ever made, but I wasn't really satisfied with the way it looked and the way that I was able to use the paints, because in the end, for a lot of the smaller details, I used pencil crayon. Basically, I gave up. I'm still gonna allow myself to use pencil crayon for a few details, but I really want to use mostly gouache paint the whole time. Now, I have to apologize for the amount of times this video cuts into a different day. This painting took me like 3 weeks to do, which is way longer than I wanted, and you can definitely tell in the video, which is also why it's so sped up, because if it wasn't, this video would be like 3 hours long. So hopefully it's still enjoyable, but yeah, just kind of a disclaimer. For this painting, I really wanted to do like a medieval theme, something that looked kind of like a classical painting, and I thought it would be really fun because I love that kind of thing. So I did a princess and a knight, and I underestimated how long it would take, but it turned out way better than I thought it would, so it's okay. Like I said in my last video, I've been trying out gouache because I really want to find a painting medium that works for me. I've always struggled with painting because I never feel like I have control over my brush strokes. I feel like with drawing with like pencil crayons or markers or even digitally, I feel like I have more control over everything I do, and the outcome is usually a lot better. But I do want to always try new mediums, so I've done acrylic and watercolor, and they're both okay, but I feel like watercolor is a little bit too watery and it's not opaque enough to make the kind of art that I like to make, and acrylic just dries too fast, and maybe it's just the one I have, but it doesn't like spread very well. I think that might just be a problem with the paint that I bought. So if you guys have any affordable acrylic paints that you would recommend, please let me know in the comments. I also got a Stay Wet palette, which you can see in this video, so that might kind of change things up with how I work with acrylic. So one thing I learned from my first attempt was that you have to really build up the colors. So start with a very watery, almost like watercolor base, and then keep building on more and more opaque tones on top of that. So that was the strategy I used with this painting, and it worked pretty well. To be honest, the background came pretty easily to me. I mean, it could always be better, but for my first try at a background with gouache, I think it turned out okay. I actually really like paints for backgrounds because when you're doing such a large space with, like, let's say pencil crayon, it takes a really long time to do and it's super tedious, but paints can cover a large surface really quickly with like a big paintbrush, so that's one thing I really enjoy about paints. You can see on the princess and the knight that I did like this light wash of pink over the whole painting before I started. I forget what it's called, but I know it has a name. I've seen other people do it, so I went ahead and did it as well, but I don't actually know the benefits of doing that kind of thing before you start to paint. So if anyone knows, let me know, because I'd be interested. One thing I'm really proud of myself for doing was drawing a horse. I'm actually really bad at drawing horses. It's always been like my big thing that I can't draw. So for this painting, I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna try it out because I really wanted that medieval theme, and it went really well. So I think I've gone past that roadblock in my drawing journey. I realize this video is kind of just me rambling. I want to start writing scripts, but before I started this channel, I never really realized how extensive they had to be. Like, if you're making a 15-minute long video, that's 15 minutes worth amount of words, which is a lot. So I commend people who make like super long videos and write entire scripts out for that, because that's like 5 essays. It's really impressive. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy my random thoughts as I rewatch my painting process. The princess that I drew for this painting was very much inspired by the Renaissance portraits of queens that I sometimes see on the internet. I really love the style of dress they have and kind of like the muted reds, blues, and greens, and I really wanted to show that in my drawing. I don't know what these OCs are, or who they are, I guess. I don't have a story for them yet, but I think I'll probably make one because I really like how they turned out. It's always fun to make new characters, so maybe sometime soon I'll make a video where I give them official designs. And if you guys have any ideas for like their names or maybe a bit of their story, I would really love to hear, since I don't really have any ideas of who they might be and like what world they fit into. One thing I did find very difficult with gouache was doing the small details, which is why in my last video I did them with pencil crayon. It was probably because I didn't have any brushes that were thin enough. So if you guys are getting into gouache and you want to do very detailed paintings, then I would definitely recommend getting some smaller brushes, because once I ordered some, it made everything go a lot smoother, especially later on. You'll see for the princess's dress, there's a lot of little like beadwork and stuff, and I didn't end up doing all of it because it was a bit too detailed for painting, but it really helped to have those smaller brushes that could get those tiny little details. Another thing that I really want to work on for painting is realism. Of course, my drawings aren't going to be fully realistic because that's not really my style. I do like to have my drawings a little bit stylized, but I would like it to look less cartoonish than it does in this painting. I wasn't going for something so cartoony, and I think the dress actually looks pretty realistic, but the characters' faces not so much, and even the background doesn't feel as real as I want it to. This problem probably stems from my lack of being able to color mix, because I think that's a really important skill to get those realistic values, and when you're looking at a photo reference, you can kind of pick out all of those colors and then put them down on your page. So yeah, that's definitely something I was struggling with throughout this painting and something I need to continue to work on. But like I said before, I do really like how the dress turned out, and painting fabric is so much fun. It's so satisfying. I don't know why. I think I'll probably start working on some portraits soon because surprisingly, I'm not that good at painting faces, even though I think it's my strength in every other kind of medium. But yeah, maybe I'll do a video on me exploring how to paint different kinds of faces. Another thing that I want to work on, and actually this is something that I think all artists should work on, is just being kinder to ourselves about our art. This may seem kind of random, but this painting kind of made me notice something, because after I finished the painting, I looked at it and I was pretty happy with it. I liked how it turned out, and yeah, I was satisfied. But a few hours later, when I was taking pictures of it to post on Instagram, I was starting to nitpick it, and it made me kind of hate my painting. I saw all of the mistakes and all of the parts that I didn't like, and it just kind of ruined the piece for me. This is a mindset that I've really been trying to change, because it's good to be critical of your work, to notice the things that you should be working on, and that's great. It's like constructive criticism, but hating every single piece you make is just unhealthy, and I feel like it takes the joy out of drawing. Of course, sometimes drawing can be stressful, and it doesn't always have to be fun, because there are things that we need to work on that maybe aren't so fun, like anatomy and all of that kind of stuff. But when there's no joy in doing the thing that you should love most in the world, I think there's definitely a problem. I know a few years ago, this probably wasn't even that long ago, but I was really comparing myself to others, and not in the normal way. It was just in a way that was very almost obsessive. Like if I would see another artist my own age, I would look through all their work and like compare how they improved, and it was very bad for my art. I thought that maybe it would help, but to be honest, it made my art worse, and it made me not enjoy drawing at all. Drawing was something that was almost painful to do, because I just felt so upset when I was making my art, just thinking like, why can't I be as good as these other people that I'm seeing? And it was such a harmful mindset that made my art so much worse than it could have been. Obviously, I still compare myself to others. We all do. It's just a natural thing. But I think it's important to see our art as inherently valuable simply because we made it and we put time and effort into it. So while there are some things that I don't like about this painting, there are a lot of things I love, and it's my first, or one of my first times at trying something new, so I'm gonna give myself a little bit of grace, and I think you should too. Try to keep that in mind every time you make a new piece that maybe doesn't turn out exactly the way you want it to. That was a little bit cheesy, but I think my point still stands. It's really about changing your mindset, so telling yourself those things that may seem a little bit cheesy can kind of help to make you believe it in the long run. This is kind of off topic from what I've been talking about, but armor is surprisingly hard to paint. Doing all of the reflections is a lot harder than it looks, and I don't really know if I captured it, but actually this does relate, because like I said before, I think that even if I don't love how it turned out, I tried my best, and it was one of my first times trying to draw this kind of thing, so I'm gonna let it go. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as follow me at AliFlower88 on Instagram. Bye!